Hi, everyone. There's to get started in just a couple minutes, and we're going to show a quick video while additional folks are joining.
We should never underestimate our kids. They're a lot smarter than we were, and they have to know and do a lot more, even as early as kindergarten. That's why childcare and early learning experiences are so crucial.
We need to invest in our children because we know that science tells us if you invest early on, they're better prepared for school, they're better prepared for life, higher graduation rates, lower crime, lower poverty, lower dropout. It's a clear business case as well as a do-right case.
Quality means more than just being a place to go and eat and take a nap.
I chose a 5-star quality program because I wanted teachers to be educated and for my child to have a curriculum to get them ready for kindergarten.
You want activities, you want interaction, engagement, more than just somebody's in a room watching your kids.
If we feel they're not safe, so we cannot work.
If we do not invest in our children now, we know that we're going to pay later.
Ohio's publicly funded childcare program isn't babysitting. Early educators at star-rated programs have degrees and credentials. They follow a curriculum and create lessons just like teachers in K-12 classes. Ohio's Step Up to Quality initiative rewards programs that are building young children's brains, so we avoid costly remediation, IEPs, and holding kids back.
Step Up to Quality is an amazing, almost report card for our families to understand what level of quality they're going to receive for their children.
5 Stars kind of packages all the elements of quality care.
Just as important, Ohio's publicly funded childcare program encourages work and financial independence.
If we want people to succeed and pull themselves up by their bootstraps, then we need to at least give them boots.
Childcare is expensive. An Ohio family with an infant and toddler spends more than $18,000 a year on center-based childcare.
I wouldn't work if I had to choose between working in a low-quality place.
We have families right now that we're dealing with, and they literally are making $2 a day over what the income eligibility is. And we're talking about families where the gross income is, $25,000 a year.
Publicly funded childcare. Step up to quality. These are programs that work for families trying to pay their own way, for businesses that need workers, and for our kids who deserve quality early education.
Hi, everyone. It's Lynanne Gutierrez. I'm the Assistant Director at Groundwork Ohio. Thank you and welcome to everyone for being here. We are really grateful to be here with all of our statewide childcare organizations. We have certainly Groundwork Ohio team is represented, the Ohio Association of Childcare Providers, the Ohio Childcare Resource and Referral Association, the Ohio Association for the Education of the Young Child, and the Southwest Ohio Association for the Education of the Young Child, the National Black Child Development Institute, in the Ohio affiliate, and so thank you so much for joining us. It has been some long days lately and certainly a long year, but I want to let you know that since we had shared with you and alerted you to the really concerning changes made to our quality childcare system and those that continue to be at risk in our state budget, that we have sent over 10,000 messages. And so we're here tonight with you to respect your time and to share briefly with you where we stand in terms of the state biennial budget and ask you to dig deep and join us in one last effort to communicate to our policymakers and share that we're very concerned. The representatives from all of our statewide childcare organizations are going to share with you some overarching themes and certainly a summary of the distinct changes that the Ohio Senate has made to House Bill 110. That's our state budget bill. As you know, in February, the governor put out his budget proposal. Then the House had an opportunity to have hearings and make changes to the governor's proposal. It then got passed out of the House and moves on to the Senate. And the Senate puts their kind of footprint on the budget bill. At this point now, the Senate has voted out that bill from their chamber, and both members from the House and the Senate will join together in a conference committee to reconcile any differences, and ultimately the bill will be sent by the governor. So we have just a very short amount of time. We hear that the conference committee will be done deliberating next week. So we have between now and early next week to make that last impact, to influence members, to educate them, and to let them know what our position is on the changes that have been made thus far. So please, again, join us, and thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to hand it first over to Karen Lambie from the Ohio Association for Childcare Providers to provide a brief update on the Senate's proposal to dismantle the Step Up to Quality system. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynanne. And of course, my computer stopped working just as I was getting ready to speak. So I'm on my cell phone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. This bill, just to help providers understand, I am a provider. I'm also the advocacy chair for the Ohio Association of Childcare Providers. And what people need to understand is this is I shouldn't say the first step. It is a step in the process to dismantle Step Up to Quality. I've heard from many providers who have said, I don't understand, they're not taking away the money. And what we need to understand is they're not taking away the money yet, but long-term, that is their plan. And we need to understand their plan is to dismantle Step Up to Quality and all of the funding that goes along with it over time. And so it's critically important that we come together and we advocate strong now in order to save Step Up for our children and for our providers that serve our most at-risk children across the state. Thank you, Lynanne.
Thanks, Karen. Next, we're going to move on to Todd Barnhouse from the Ohio Childcare Resource and Referral Association.
Thank you, Lynanne. So first thing I want to say here is you have all worked really, really hard to get us to where we are. We've just reached the 2020 goal through a very trying time for Step Up to Quality. So there is no reason at all that we should be going backwards at this point. The one thing I'm going to touch on here is in the Senate version, there are restrictions put on the stimulus funds and how those are invested into the system. If you know that there has been a focus and OCRA is just now getting ready to send out hero payments. So 3 of the 4 quarters of payments of hero payments are coming out in this fiscal year, but the restrictions and where they are coming in the Senate version potentially put the 4th quarter's hero payments in jeopardy, as well as then any additional grants or program payments to programs. So one-time program payments have left our office as of Friday, and many of you have probably already received checks for that. So I think it's one of those things everyone needs to know, that if we, at this time when there's $1.2 billion of additional stimulus money to come into childcare, now is not the time to put a bunch of strings on those funds and restrictions, because we need to continue to stabilize the market, similar to what the governor's investments did as of March of 2020. So the Senate bill right now is pretty much putting restrictions on how those funds can flow into the system, which, as you know, will drag out the opportunity to really sustain our field. The Senate's plan has set a clear and offensive message to our professional workforce, because when the first version of the Senate budget came out, it actually restricted that no funds could be used to support the workforce. As we know, we need all these funds, investments in both the professionals, in the programs, in the systems in order to be successful. There's restrictive language around sustainability limits on any solution to staffing changes as well, which of course are detrimental to everything that we've been trying to sustain, establish, build. It actually takes us back. So thank you for everything that you do. Your voice is important. It's important for all of us to speak on behalf of Ohio's economically disadvantaged families. The restrictions and the points that are being made right now really hurt the access to service, quality services to our most vulnerable populations. Thank you, Lynanne.
Thanks, Todd. Now we're going to move on to Kim Tice from Ohio AUIC, and then followed by Chad Noonemaker from the Southwest Ohio AUIC.
Thank you for this opportunity. To build on what Todd shared, the American Rescue Plan prioritizes addressing compensation for early childhood educators. However, the needs of our educators seem to be invisible to our state legislators. The Senate claims their plan will increase access, but we know childcare programs are dealing with massive staffing shortages, leading to fewer spots and long waiting lists. Early childhood educators perform complex, demanding work, and research confirms that better paid teachers provide better quality childcare. Yet, Senate leadership has implied that babysitting is good enough for Ohio's children. NAUIC and Moms Rising issued a statement today that confirms parents want the best for their children. I'll add a link to that statement to the chat box. The Senate plan makes clear that the very educators who were considered essential during the pandemic are no longer essential if it means investing in Step Up to Quality and compensation for our workforce. Our system is going to crumble if we don't use this as an opportunity to improve compensation and stop depending on early childhood educators to subsidize the system through their poverty level wages. Either we increase compensation or we'll be left with no workforce at all. It's clear that the staffing challenges are real and getting worse, and that compensation is both the problem and the solution. The restrictions that Todd talked about will really put a barrier to improving that. Investing in Step Up to Quality and compensation will increase families' options for safe, high quality childcare. Thank you.
Thanks, Kim, and thanks to Lynanne and Groundwork Ohio and to our other partners on the call today. So in addition to being the ED of Southwest Ohio AUIC, I also teach higher education courses in early childhood education and child development. And in developmental science, there's a lot of concepts that involve bidirectional reciprocal effects. For example, an adult's behavior drives a child's behavior, which in turn further drives the adult's behavior, and so on. And the proposed changes to Step Up to Quality would have harmful bidirectional reciprocal impacts on the future of the early childhood profession. The compensation issue that Kim just described would result in a reduced number of early childhood professionals continuing their education, which in turn would lead to additional harmful impacts on the quality of early education in the state of Ohio. Taking the long-term view of the impact on the early childhood profession, the proposed changes to Step Up and its impact on compensation and educational attainment in the field would ultimately make the early childhood profession less attractive as a career choice. And with the shortage of enrollment slots and staffing issues, as they are already a problem, we cannot have that happen. You know, early childhood professionals have been waiting for a long time for our governmental institutions to understand that the work we do is critically important, that the work we do is a worthwhile investment with significant financial returns, and that the work we do plays a key role in solving our societal ills, and for them to act accordingly. And the proposed changes to Step Up to Quality are harmful to the early childhood profession. They're harmful to children. They're harmful to families. They're simply a step in the wrong direction, and we absolutely cannot go backwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. And now we'll end out our panel with Gloria from the National Black Child Development Institute.
Thank you, Leanne. Last year, as we know, was a very unprecedented time, with the start of a global pandemic compiled with individuals around the world acknowledging how prevalent injustice, systemic racism, and inequity is intertwined within our communities. More so, during this time, we realized, particularly in Ohio, how some of our systems were not as adequate to meet the needs of every child. During these pivotal moments, various stakeholders joined policymakers to facilitate action, engage in conversation to ensure the lens of equity becomes aligned for all children. BCDI Cleveland recognizes the previous and ongoing successes that have contributed to the work of eliminating disparities, shrinking the opportunity gap, and eradicating systemic racism. One of those successes, as we all know, is Step Up to Quality. Step Up to Quality rating system, a system that has been implemented to ensure that Ohio's most vulnerable children, despite their income, neighborhood, demographics, and ethnicity, would receive a jumpstart in receiving quality childcare in an early childcare setting, a setting that ensures educators have the skill set to ensure the social, emotional, cognitive, and language development of all children that will allow each child to be prepared for school. Despite these successes, as Ohio legislators attempt to dismantle Ohio's quality child care system, we note that this action will set us years back and will adversely impact Black children. We know that Step Up to Quality helps level the playing field. The data shows only 23% of Black children enter kindergarten ready to learn, compared to 47% of white children. Before the pandemic, 55% of children under the age of 5 in publicly funded childcare were Black, and 70% of kids under the age of 5 in publicly funded childcare were children of color. And we note that these numbers have grown dramatically since the pandemic, as families have lost jobs and are slowly regaining employment and regaining financially. The data continues to show Step Up to Quality has provided a great foundation to build towards equity in early childhood. Our Black children can't afford to remain marginalized in the view of those who are not invested in our children. We ask that you join us and take action today. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria, and thanks to everyone on our panel today. So I just want to briefly reiterate what you heard and put it in the words of an ask. So this is what we're asking our state policymakers to do now that the governor, the House, and then the Senate have made these changes to the bill. As they're deliberating on the final outcome of our state biennial budget, we are asking them to restore the requirement that all programs receiving publicly funds are rated at a 1 star. That is the 2020 goal that you all have worked so hard to achieve. We're at 100% of programs participating. To then restore the 2025 requirement that by June 2025, all programs receiving public funds and serving publicly funded children are rated high quality in that 3 to 5 star rating. And that we remove harmful budget cuts and restrictions on federal funds. That certainly applies to emergency federal dollars that are coming through the American Rescue Plan. The dollars already that came to our state from the December stimulus package, and our regular investments that the federal government makes in childcare year after year. We are open and want to, and I know you all are the best equipped alongside us to educate our policymakers in a robust public discussion about how we can improve Step Up to Quality and how we can improve access to quality childcare in our state. But we need to do so in a constructive way, not one that makes short-sighted decisions and sweeping changes in the last steps of the budget. It is true we need additional funding, and sustainability is certainly a concern. But there are 2 options that we have. You can eliminate the program or water down the program and systematically remove the ability to build on progress, or you can prioritize and invest in a program that matters for kids and families in our state. And we're going to stand for the latter. Year after year, certainly Groundwork and our other childcare stakeholders across the state know that this is a statement of values and priorities for policymakers, and they need to hear from you about what your values and priorities are. So please, we're going to lead and tell you how you can do this easily, but we ask you to muster the energy and the courage to speak for your interests, your profession, and most importantly, the families and kids that you serve every day. I'm going to hand it over to Chelsea, and Julia from our team, who are going to walk you step by step through some very easy tools that you can spend 2, 3, 5 or more minutes on over the next several days to really make this one last impact to try to preserve what we've worked so hard to build for our low-income families across the state. Thanks so much. And Chelsea and Julia, take it away.
Yes, thank you, Lynn-Ann, and thank you for everyone for joining us this evening. So I think as our speakers have really made clear, the Senate's proposal to dismantle Step Up to Quality really has far-reaching implications for Ohio's children, our families, and for our early educators. So now that we are nearing the end of the budget process, time is really running out to make our voices heard, and we need early educators and advocates like you to take immediate action on behalf of Ohio's youngest children and our quality early childcare system. And that's why we've put together an easy to use advocacy toolkit to help each of you contact your state legislators, as well as recruit members of your community to take action on this important issue. So our goal is to make early childhood advocacy as simple as possible. Our call to action takes no more than 2 minutes to complete, as Lynn-Ann mentioned. Obviously, there are options for you to engage beyond that, but we wanted to make it really simple for folks to engage. So we've prepared social media posts, flyers, letters that you can send home to parents, and other tools that you can use to help get out the word to your friends, family, neighbors, and other members of your community. And before I turn things over to my colleague, Julia, who's going to walk through our advocacy toolkit, I do want to say that your voice and your story and your experiences are so crucial to communicate to policymakers. They need to hear from their constituents about why this issue is so important to their community. So with that, Julia, will you walk us through the toolkit?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining tonight's webinar. And hang on one second, since I'm controlling the back end of everything. All right, there we go. So as Chelsea mentioned, we created some simple tools for you all to use to ensure that we can get this message out in the next week before the conference committee decides upon Step Up to Quality and other childcare provisions. So in this toolkit, you will see there's some background information. So you all are learning about this now, but maybe those that you have not, that are not attending this webinar currently might not have all the information on it. So that's why we included some background information for you all. We also included an email blog post that you can copy and paste, edit to your liking, whatever fits your need. Then we have social media posts for you all to use. These are sample posts that you can use on Twitter, Facebook, etc. You can also download the images by clicking the hyperlinks that are underneath the image. And then going on to our next section, we have some paid social media ad posts that you all can copy and translate into any paid social media that you wish to do. I know that some have mentioned that they would totally get behind advertising this to the families and parents that may be on Facebook with them. So that's why we included this. And like I said, you can also download the images by clicking these hyperlinks as well. Then we have an email or a letter form that you can send to families. So you can stick this in the backpacks of the kiddos in your programs, or you can send an email with this information. We also included a really simple QR code to be able to scan to make things easier so that families don't have to type in the Take Action link right here that will link to our voter voice platform. And then finally, we did include a sample flyer. And as you see, there are suggestions of how to get this flyer out in your communities to get the most engagement. But here is the sample flyer, and it has the QR code where you'll be able to easily scan and send. So what are you directing people to? This is our voter voice platform that Chelsea had mentioned. So all the information that's provided in the toolkit links to our Voter Voice platform, where you will be able to see some background information to the left, but then also you'll be able to compose a message to Governor DeWine, your state senator, and your state representatives. And what you'll be able to do here is you can keep this subject and keep this message and just fill in your information. Really simple. If you have autofill like I do, it takes literally less than a minute, and then you can click send a message. But if you want to add your personal story in there, you're more than welcome to do so. You would just need to add right here to the message body. You can edit the text in here. You can edit the subject line. You can make this message that goes to your legislators, really sharing your story and your experience with Step Up to Quality. Once you're done reviewing all this information, like I said, it's really simple. You just click send message. Oh, hold on. So click send message, and then I think it's because I've already done this many times, but this should not pop up on your end, but it would be able to say your message has been sent, and you will be able to send on your message, and you'll get a response from the legislative office demonstrating that they've received your response. But this is a really quick and easy way to get your message out. But like I said, sharing information. I see that someone says that the link to the advocacy toolkit is not working. Let me double click it and see if it works. Okay, I'm not sure why the link might not be working for you all, but have no fear. We have the advocacy toolkit that will be sent in a follow-up email to everyone, with the voter voice tool, with the click to tweet option, downloading the toolkit, etc. But I think first and foremost, send a message through Voter Voice, and then go to this toolkit that I showed you earlier on and get the message out to the families that you serve, your local community, stakeholders, etc. Make sure that everyone knows that this is an issue that impacts everyone. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lynn Ann, I believe, or Chelsea.
Well, Julia, I'm just going to jump in really quick before we send it back over to Lynn Ann. I did want to answer one of the questions we had in the chat regarding whether or not people should complete the Voter Voice campaign if they already have. So this Voter Voice campaign we're talking about today is new. We just launched it late last week. So if you have not participated since late last week, I know we had another campaign running before that. Yes, absolutely. Please engage in this one. This is a new campaign, so it'll send another message to your legislators, letting them know what our ask is. And as Julia mentioned, we'll be following up after this event with the toolkit, so that way folks can download it directly to their computers, as well as share it with everyone in their network, in their community as well. So Lynn Ann, with that, I will turn it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you all. So you've heard from a united voice from all of our statewide childcare focused organizations. We all have unique missions, but we all have a common objective here, especially as we head into this next week. You have heard, if you've already sent a message, you must send again. You have to send again. There's a new campaign. We're working towards getting back to another 10,000 messages in this next week. So please send and send again and share. We've done all we can to provide you with the tools in the toolkit. Please reach out to our team if you need help with that. There were nearly 500 of you live today on the webinar, and there were nearly 800 registered. So we are counting on you all to take that next step, whatever you choose that next step to be. But please help act, and we look forward to being alongside you. Our common objective here is to save quality childcare. And if you participated with Groundwork Ohio before, the theme for our advocacy this budget has been make this moment a movement. And how you make a moment a movement is by lending your story, your voice, your unique experience and expertise to educate policymakers on what your values are and your priorities for yourself, your profession, your community, and those families and children that you serve. Let me just tell you on behalf of all of us, make this moment a movement. This is just one of those moments, everyone, and we need you and we need your effort. And thank you for everything you do and for joining us tonight. Please take care and reach out to us if you have questions. We'll be updating you as soon as we learn more. And you'll receive that email with all that we've gone over tonight shortly. Thanks so much.